What is up, you guys? It is another episode of the Sci-Fly Zone where the multiverse meets a seventh inning stretch. It's your boy Trenton and CJ, and today's destination is taking us back to Major League Baseball, and we're going to be going over all of the available free agents at each position, going over the biggest names and going over the most likely places that they'll end up, and possibly for how much money. And you got to know that in this economy nowadays, each guy's going to be getting tens of, probably not hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's just crazy. Like, some guys will get $100 million contract and people be like, not enough money. Imagine being so good at a sport where you're getting paid $100 million to play it, and people are like, that guy's not getting enough money. I'm making minimum wage right now. I would love to get 100 million.
It's crazy, man. It's a crazy world, the sports world. It's just completely gotten bigger than anything anyone could have ever predicted, I imagine. And the contracts that we've seen, even in the last couple of years, have been like groundbreaking and unbelievable. And like it's crazy to see, but it's kind of cool to see too.
Yeah, I thought the Mookie Betts contract was like the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like that signing bonus, insane.
Yeah.
But then, we also got Trout's contract, and then we got Ohtani's contract, we got Soto's contract, we got Vlad Jr.'s contract. There's a lot of big contracts going around, so who knows who's going to be the next biggest contract?
Yeah, man. It's exciting to see.
Yeah.
We really don't know.
We do not know, but we're going to talk about it.
Yes, we will.
So let's start off with the catchers. Obviously, the biggest name here is the realest one here, JT Realmuto.
Yeah, he's definitely the biggest name among the catcher free agents. He's been one of the biggest names among catchers like for the last 10 years seemingly. He's getting up there a little bit in age, but if Salvador Perez has taught us anything, that doesn't really matter for catchers as much as we thought, because you could still be extremely productive for your team. And JT Realmuto has been extremely productive for the Phillies since leaving the Marlins. He's been like an integral for that team's success. And I know they haven't gotten to win the World Series yet, but they've gotten deep in the playoffs many times, and he's a big part of that.
Yeah, without a doubt. And he knows how to call a good game. And we need to find a team that needs a catcher and a team that also wants to contend. Maybe the Big A.
Oh, we have a Hopio.
I mean, he gets hurt all the time.
That's a good point. That's fair. He does miss a lot of time. Yeah, I mean, I would not be against having two elite catchers, honestly. That sounds like a pretty good deal to me. I would be super into that. And I do feel like the Angels are going to try to be active this offseason, at least a little bit. We've seen already with what they've done with Taylor Ward trade, and then we signed Huascar Ynoa, I believe, the other day as well, World Series winning reliever. So, yeah, the Angels could definitely be in the talks. I have a different location for him, actually on the East Coast. I think that there's a chance he could go back to Miami, honestly. I think that is a possibility. I feel like
I've heard big talks that Miami wants to be pretty active in the market this offseason.
Yeah, I don't blame them. They had huge improvements last year from the year before, and I feel like they should just try to keep building on that.
Yeah,
honestly,
they did better than the Braves last year.
They did better than the Braves, which is still mind-boggling to me. But yeah, I mean, they had a great September. They had a real shot at making the playoffs if they were playing better baseball during the rest of the season. But it's a very young team. There's a lot of young talent on that team. And I think JT Realmuto could be great we mentioned how good he is at calling games. I think he could be great for developing some of those younger pitchers, because the Marlins have a lot of young pitchers that have a lot of potential that we just haven't really seen tapped into yet. Like Sixto Sanchez, he had like rookie status for like 5 years because he wasn't able to stay up in the big leagues. Like Yuri Perez as well. Sandy Alcantara has been struggling, but maybe JT could help him out with that. So
yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I think that could be a really good fit for them.
Yeah. So free agent wise, that's really about it for catchers. So we got a lot of names at first base here. We got Pete Alonso, we got Ryan O'Hearn, Carlos Santana, Luis Arias, Paul Goldschmidt. This is a lot of names at first base.
There are a lot of free agents at first base and a lot of solid players at first base as well. Like, it's a deep position. There are a lot of good names. I feel like Pete Alonso is probably the biggest name.
I think he's going to Boston.
I think he's going to Boston too, man. That's like the only team that I've heard in rumors and like that has a chance. It makes so much sense, dude. Bro, with that green monster, he might hit like 90 extra base hits in a season. It's going to be unbelievable.
The amount of Dunkin' commercials this man will be in once he goes to Boston, it's going to be incredible.
He could be big for their market. He would be great for that team, man. I mean, I think it's just such a good fit. They traded away Devers and seemingly won the trade. So they're looking for a first baseman. I know they have Tristan Casas. He hasn't really been able to stay healthy very much. He's dealt with injuries. I think that if they were able to pick up Pete Alonso, stick him right in the middle of the lineup, like the 3 or 4 hole, that would be a huge boost for their team. And we mentioned in the trade video their move to get Sonny Gray and how that is definitely not the only move that they're going to make in this offseason. They're going to be very aggressive and they're going to be in talks for a lot of guys.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited to see where he goes. But yeah, I think he's going to Boston probably on a 6 to 8 year deal
Yeah, yeah, I
for at
think
least
that's
$250 million.
oh yeah, he's going to get paid for sure. The way that his contract stuff went down, like last season, with wanting to commit and wanting to sign a big deal with the Mets, and then just not willing to give him like everything that he wanted, and then basically him having to sign the short term deal to try again in free agency next time, and that's what he's doing now. And I don't think he wants to do that again. So it's going to be a big contract. I think 6 to 8 years is a good range, and he's going to be getting upwards of $200 million for sure.
Mm-hmm. I think the next name that we'll see, if it's not going to be Pete Alonso, is Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, he's really had a resurgence in New York, so I wouldn't be surprised if New York brought him back. I would agree with that move, but also at the same time, a lot of teams could really use a pretty consistent guy like Goldschmidt.
Yeah, there's a lot of possible landing spots for him to go to. I'm sure the Yankees are going to try to bring him back if they can because he was great for them. You were right. He was one of the best first basemen at the All-Star break, like in the American League. He was in like over 300.
And he's
Um,
38, dude.
yeah, man, it's weird that he's 38. He doesn't feel
No,
38.
he
He
does
feels like
not
like
play like
33.
he's 38,
No,
man.
absolutely not. He still crushes lefties. He could be a perfect platoon guy against
Or a
lefties
DH.
or a DH. Yeah, yeah, that works too. Yeah, maybe not putting him in the field as much. Might be harder for him to kind of like bend over and squat down a little bit. But yeah, there's a lot of spots that he could fit in, man. And
Dude, I
um,
could see Paul Goldschmidt going to Milwaukee
ooh,
as a DH.
I like that. I kind of like that.
I feel like with his style of ball, like just fits Milwaukee perfectly. And
Yeah,
they always have like a mix of guys who are not the big names. And Paul Goldschmidt is not necessarily a big name anymore, kind of like he was a few years ago when he was still with the Diamondbacks or when he had his few seasons with St. Louis. So I could see him totally fitting right in with Milwaukee on like a 2 year deal.
yeah, I like that. I like that idea. I think 2 years in Milwaukee could be really good for him. I think that another place he could go, and I'm not going to say this for every free agent. Okay, I think he could go back to Arizona. I think there's a chance he could be a Diamondback again. They traded away Josh Naylor. They don't really have like a standout first baseman right now. I think Pavin Smith is probably their main guy right now, and I think that could be a really good platoon situation. You have Smith against righties, you have Goldschmidt against lefties. Like the fans would love it. I know like that's not you don't necessarily want to sign a guy because of the fans loving it, but the fans would absolutely love it if he came
Mhm.
back there, and I think he would enjoy it. It'd be a good way to end his career, and they could really use him, honestly.
Yeah, they already have a pretty decent offense, so he definitely would bump it up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's move on to second baseman. We got guys like Willie Castro, Jorge Polanco, Jose Iglesias, Dylan Moore. I actually met him one time because his dad was my high school baseball coach.
Oh,
So
right.
one
Yeah.
time he was throwing BP and then Dylan pulled up. And when I saw him hitting, I knew I would never be a major league baseball player. Dude, just the level of skill, you can just tell it's just different.
There are some guys that you can tell are just going places that other guys aren't, and it's really crazy to see. I love stuff like that when like former players go back to their high school and like hit with their coach or something like that, and then you see them in the big leagues a couple years later. It's yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And also what is now probably going to be a former Angel, Luis Rengifo.
Yeah,
I liked him. He kind of has like an Eric Ibar vibe to him, and I like that. If anyone reminds me of Eric Ibar, I'll take him, put him on the team.
yeah, 100%. I think there's a chance that the Angels could bring him back. I don't know how I feel about Luis Renifo, man. I really like him, and I like the way that he plays, but it feels like sometimes when I'm paying attention, he's either doing really, really good or really, really bad sometimes
Yeah,
too. I
he's
feel like it's
super
kind of
streaky.
very streaky. Yeah, you don't really know what you're going to get from him on a particular day. But he's been a great part of our team, and I do hope that the Angels bring him back. But I wouldn't be surprised if he gets better offers from other teams or like decides that he wants to go somewhere else.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think if Seattle doesn't bring back Jorge Polanco, they could get Luis Rengifo instead. Not to disrespect him, but he's like a Walmart Jorge Polanco, if you know what I mean. They essentially do the same things on paper. And he does it for cheaper money, just not as good.
Yeah, honestly, that's a really good point. I think Seattle is going to try to do what they can to bring back Jorge Polanco. I think they really liked what he was doing with them. But if he's not able to go back, I think that Luis Rengifo is a really good replacement for them. That'd be a great option, especially considering, like you mentioned, like we just talked about, they're also losing Dylan Moore, who is another infielder, utility guy, can play a lot of positions. But Luis Rengifo can also play a lot of positions. You can move him around in the infield. He's a switch hitter. Every team is always looking for a switch hitter. So, yeah, I think that would be a really good spot for him.
Yeah, me too. So, shortstops, Miggy Rowe, and also Bo Bichette, one of the biggest names in the shortstop category for free agents. I really don't see Toronto giving him up.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if he doesn't re-sign with Toronto. I think there's a possibility that he doesn't sign. Maybe just if there's going to be some disagreements or something, like it's not exactly what one of the parties are looking for, but it just feels right. It feels like he should go back to Toronto. I feel like he loves it there. He wants to win there. He wants to be Vlad's teammate. He's said that several times. If they're able to extend Vlad and then in the offseason, like re-sign Bo Bichette, it's going to be a big contract. It's going to be like 7 years at least, probably. He's still pretty young. He's like 27 or 28. So he's going to get a long-term deal. He's going to get a lot of money. And I think Toronto is willing to do that. The only thing is, I don't know if he's going to be playing shortstop for them. I feel like I think there's a chance that he moves over to second base. We saw a little bit of that in the World Series. Offensively, he's one of the best hitting shortstops in baseball. Defensively, it's not really the same story. He's a little bit inconsistent defensively. It's a little scary sometimes. And they have Andres Jimenez at shortstop, who is a gold glover. So they kind of have the shortstop spot down defensively. I think Bo Bichette could pretty easily move over to second base and become one of the best second basemen in baseball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's really weird. I feel like over the years, I always hear Angels Bo Bichette rumors, just like little whispers in the background.
Just a sprinkle.
Yeah. So if the Angels do eat out Rendon's final year of his contract, I could see them perhaps doing less money a lot of years rather than a lot of money less years to try and compensate for the payroll, try and keep him longer, but he still makes enough money over that amount of time because if we do eat out Rendon's contract, we're going to have to like bring someone in to replace him. Although, obviously we're not replacing much, but what he was supposed to be was an all-star, potentially Hall of Fame level third baseman, and we got none of that. So we need someone who can possibly do that. And Bo Bichette, he's only 28. There's a lot of time for this man to improve and refine his game and figure out certain things while not getting injured in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we do hear like all the time that, oh, maybe he's going to be an Angel. Maybe the Angels going to trade for him. Maybe he'll sign with them when he's a free agent. But
we suck at signing people.
We really do. When we signed Ohtani, that was incredible and that was great and that was perfect. And I'm glad we did that. It
shouldn't have happened.
It shouldn't have happened. Absolutely not. You probably thought the Angels were the Dodgers and accidentally signed the contract with the Angels because you saw Los Angeles. But it was nice while we had him. But that's kind of it. We haven't really had other successful, like real successful free agent signings. And I hope that hasn't scared off ownership and made them want to sign guys less often. But we really need that guy that we can pay money to become like a spark plug for the team. And Bo Bichette's a perfect fit for that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And if we had Zach Neto and Bo Bichette up the middle,
that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome, dude. Hitting 1 and 2.
Yeah, because they both got speed and power.
Man, I would love that matchup. Yeah.
So Miggy Rowe, where do you think he's going? Do you think the Dodgers bring him back at 37 years old?
I think so. I think he's going to go back to the Dodgers. Yeah. He's more of a what you call like a glue guy. He's like the guy that like keeps the team together, bonds the team, helps the team like he's a vibes guy, kind of. You know what I mean? Obviously, he had the biggest swing of the postseason probably with his home run, and I think that just kind of adds to his reputation. And I feel like that's even more reason for them to bring him back. The Dodgers would be probably willing to pay him the most out of any team, not only because they have a ton of money, but also because he's been there for a long time. He's like kind
Yeah,
of a
they're very loyal to their players.
yeah, 100%, and I could totally respect that. So I think that we could see another situation like that with Mickey Rowe.
Mm-hmm. So, third base, Alex Bregman, Eugenio Suarez, big names.
Yeah,
Honestly, with Bregman, Boston's got to bring him back, right?
they should.
If they want to contend next year, they bring back Bregman, they sign Alonso, and that's all the money that you can spend.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. 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 I mean, they really have to do everything they can to bring him back. He was basically everything they could have asked for in a third baseman with the signing. He did miss a little bit of time with some injuries, but he was very good when he was on the field. Like, he just made a huge impact for the Red Sox as soon as he signed with them. And whatever team that he signs with next, he's going to make a huge impact for them as well. The Red Sox have a really good shot at signing him, but for some reason, for honestly like a couple months at this point, like I think maybe at the trade deadline, I was thinking about this. I could really see Alex Bregman being a Detroit Tiger.
I
I
could see
think that he
that.
would fit in well there. I believe Zach McKinstry is like their everyday third baseman right now, and he's very good. But he is another utility guy. He could play pretty much anywhere in the infield. You could move him to second if you need to. Maybe they move on from Glaber or Javier Baez and replace them with Alex Bregman, who I think could fit really well in there. It's a big outfield there, so he could have a lot of gappers. He could hit a lot of extra base hits there. So I think that.
I see the vision.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, I
good.
see
I
it.
like it.
I see
I
it.
like it. Yeah,
And
I feel like those are
it's probably
probably
going
the
to
two
be at
options.
least a 5 to 7 year deal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he's in a similar situation as Pete Alonso, where he doesn't want to sign the small contract again. He wants that. He wants that big deal, and maybe that kind of works against the Red Sox if they're looking for two guys who are both asking for a long-term deal for a lot of money. That might work against them. Maybe they go separate ways. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where those two guys go.
Yeah, for sure. In Eugenio Suarez, I think Seattle really needs to bring this man back. Like outside of Cal Raleigh, they don't have many power bats, and he is a good power bat. And he probably will not sign for that much money relative to what guys who are putting up similar numbers would sign for.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird seeing him in Seattle again. His batting average was like below 200. I know he's never really been a batting average guy, but he just wasn't seeing the ball as well in Seattle as he was in Arizona. So I don't know if he necessarily wants to go back. I feel like there's a chance that he could go somewhere else. Um, I don't want him to go here because I think it'd be very scary, but I could see him just becoming a DH for the Yankees.
Are you kidding? That's unfair. She made those. I need to calm down. Everything's fine.
I think if he went to New York, that short porch, he would hit 60 home runs. So he would be scary in New York.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think New York would be a pretty good fit for him. It makes sense. And it really seems like they've just kind of have catered to the low average home run guys
Yeah, yeah, they kind of have a formula, and it just seems like it works out pretty well. He would
for
also
the
kind of be
regular
replacing him.
season.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, it works out for most of the year. He would also probably be like kind of replacing Giancarlo Stanton, I feel like, because he kind of provides something similar to what Stanton does with the power numbers, and Stanton's had issues staying on the field. I mean, he was very good when he was on the field, or not on the field, when he was at bat, when he was DHing. But I think Eugenio Suarez could be great for them.
Yeah. And speaking of DHs,
Mm,
we got a really big name on the DH market. That is Mr. Kyle Schwarber.
yeah,
I think him staying in Philly and him going to another team is 50-50.
Hey, seriously, is this safe?
Yes, very safe. 50-50.
yeah, it's really not as close as I thought it was. I thought that there was I thought he was definitely going to re-sign with the Phillies. I thought he was definitely going to go back, but there is a good chance that he doesn't go back, and I think there's a pretty good fit for him if he doesn't go back there. And I know we've mentioned this team a couple times already, and sure they're not going to be able to spend the money on all of these guys. Boston. Boston. I think he could go back to the Red Sox. Like he was there for a very short amount of time. I think it was like 41 games after he left Washington to go to Boston. But he hit 291. He had a 291 batting average. Kyle Schwarber, by the way, we're talking about Kyle Schwarber. That's never been a Kyle Schwarber thing in his career. He hit 291, a 435 on base percentage, and a 522 slugging for a 957 OPS in Boston. He loves it there, dude. He seems like he loves it there, and he's got the power to pull it down the line. The 380 isn't going to be a huge issue for him because he can hit a 400 anyways.
Yeah, but also like if you really hook it down the line, it actually gets incredibly short very fast.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
and he's got power to all fields, so it's not like the Green Monster is much of an issue either.
Oh yeah, totally. He could like get under a ball a little bit, and it could still go out like 325 to left field, and that counts for a run.
Yeah, man, I would love that. Imagine just Boston's like, yeah, we're just gonna pull out a big loan. We're getting Bregman, we're getting Schwarber, we're getting Alonso.
Oh my God, just take Tucker while you're at it. Why not? Yeah, just add another 400 million. What's another 400 million?
Yeah, man, that would be crazy. But yeah, speaking of outfielders, Kyle Tucker, I'm glad you mentioned him because out of all of the available outfielders right now, he is the most valuable one.
100%. Yeah, there's been talks of him like possibly receiving like a 460 million dollar contract. I don't know how realistic that is. I don't know if he's going to be getting that number depending on what team he goes to.
I think he could get. I see him getting a 280.
Yeah, I could see that. I think.
And he's going to the Dodgers. I'm sorry.
I think he's going to. Yeah, he's going to the Dodgers. Man. I know.
Dude, he fits. He fits. I mean,
he just fits too well.
But that's also, I feel like, if they don't get Cody Bellinger first.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's a higher chance of Cody Bellinger going back to the Dodgers, who's also a free agent. I feel like there's a higher chance of him going back to the Dodgers more than Kyle Tucker. But, Kyle Tucker just, I don't know. The Dodgers hold no one off their list. They will go after anybody and everybody and give them, life-changing money.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the Dodgers have completely committed to the let's pay everybody now and be the best team in baseball right now, and then we'll pay for it later on. we're not going to have as much money later on unless these guys just make all the money back from their contracts like Shohei. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it just, like you said, it makes sense. He's a perfect fit there. They're willing to give him the money. He wants to win. He's going to be a Dodger.
But let's just say the Dodgers don't exist. Where else would he go? I could see him going to San Diego, potentially.
Ooh.
I could see him being a good fit there. I feel like he would fit vibe-wise there as well. Plus, San Diego's going to want to do something to contend with the Dodgers, Why not get a 29-year-old speedy defensive power hitting, contact hitting outfielder in his prime and give him an 8-year deal?
Yeah, it would be a great move. He's basically a 5-tool player. He would fit in perfectly with that lineup. It's already a good lineup, but he would be a big improvement for them, and he would make them even better.
Yeah, him and Tatis in the outfield.
Oh, man, dude. That would be magic. That'd be really good. They would make the Dodgers work. They'd make them earn it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. You got any other outfielders that you want to mention here?
These were kind of the main guys. Are there any other big name guys you see on there? I don't think there were any.
Yeah, we got Jason Hayward.
Right. Back to Atlanta. No, St. Louis again. $180 million.
Oh, that was a bad contract.
It was really bad.
Okay, let's move on to some starting pitchers. So the biggest name that we had was Dylan Cease, and Dylan Cease obviously signed the 7-year, $210 million deal with Toronto, only making them a bigger force in the American League East, and no doubt going to be one of the bigger parts of the rotation and most likely going to be pitching in the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. The Blue Jays are not messing around, clearly. They were so close to victory last year, and they do not want to get that close again without taking the step and crossing the finish line. And the Dylan Cease signing is evidence of that. It's a competitive move. It's a big move. kind of a controversial move. Some people, I've seen some fan reactions saying like, "Oh, he doesn't deserve that money. That's way too much for his contract." Um, but I feel like they are kind of discrediting him a little bit just because of his recent performances have not been up to what his what his peak was when he was finishing second in Cy Young behind Justin Verlander. But he's a guy that when he's on, he can be one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's got a great K per nine rate. He's got really good swing and miss stuff. His fastball's great. His slider's great. His changeup's great. His curveball's great. Like he just hasn't. I feel like he hasn't really been playing as Dylan Cease lately. But I think that we totally could see that in the next couple of years.
Yeah, the next biggest names that we have here: Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez, Nick Martinez, Chris Bassett, Michael King. Some big names here. We also got Verlander on the chopping block too.
Wow, is he gonna sign? Is he gonna keep playing? He's like 42, right?
43.
Yeah, it's crazy to see him still going. But
Yeah,
I mean,
I think he'll get a 1-year deal.
I think so too. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe, maybe he retires with Detroit.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking, what if he goes back to Detroit for 1 year and Tarek Skubal, Justin Verlander, like Casey Mize and Reese Olson? That's a really fun rotation. I think he could be very helpful for those young guys.
Yeah, although if they do end up trading Skubal, then they're definitely not going to sign Verlander.
Yeah, yeah. I have no clue what the Tigers are going to do, man. It's so weird. Like I said,
Just
Bregman
don't
might
trade
go
him.
there.
You don't trade Tarek
Just
Skubal.
don't trade. Do not trade Skubal. I feel like they're teetering between, do we want to compete and try to make the playoffs and try to win the World Series, or do we just scrap it and completely rebuild? And I feel like it's kind of like a coin flip right now. And whatever they do with Skubal is going to
Need
determine.
to get better bats.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't rely on Riley Green to hit a home run.
And then
Please.
strike out 3 times. Yeah.
So yeah, but Framber Valdez, very valuable pitcher, and Ranger Suarez. I mean, they're both very similar pitchers, like
Yeah.
workhorse lefties.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned they are very similar pitchers. And I have an idea for where both of these guys can go.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them kind of plays off the other. I think Framber Valdez could fit really, really well as a San Francisco Giant. I think that in that stadium, he's already great at run prevention, and that's despite the Crawford box in right field, which is an extremely short porch. He's facing mostly righties, and he's a lefty, so there's the right-handed advantage. If you're facing a righty-righty, it kind of looks like the ball is coming from behind you sometimes. Lefty, you have a bit of a better angle. And he's still been great at run prevention. He's still been one of the most consistent pitchers in baseball. Like, you know what you're going to get from him every year. It's going to be 30 starts. It's going to be close to 200 innings, and it's going to be an ERA plus between like 115 and 135. So I think that if Framber Valdez, Logan Webb, and Robbie Ray as the top 3, that's one of the top rotations in baseball. The Giants would not give up base runners. They would not allow runs. And with some of the guys that they have in the bullpen too, that would be one of the best pitching teams in baseball. That would almost that would immediately make them a playoff threat.
Yeah, definitely. I think that would be a great signing for San Francisco. And I do think the Phillies should definitely bring back Ranger Suarez.
I think so too.
Because
yeah.
I don't think they would need to give him that much money to bring him back, especially since they've been a competing team for like basically his whole career. And I'm sure if they bring back Schwarber, that might make him more likely to come back as well, because having a guy like Schwarber on your team definitely makes you feel a little bit better, because when you're pitching, he's going to provide you run support.
Yeah, 100%. And also you don't want to have to be facing up against Kyle Schwarber. You don't want to pitch to that guy,
Yeah, I'm also not saying like, I know Ranger Suarez isn't sitting waiting for Schwarber to do something.
Yeah.
But
right.
but yeah, I think the Phillies would be dumb to give up a guy like Ranger Suarez. Like, he's such an underrated pitcher amongst the league.
He really is. Yeah, he doesn't get the flowers that he deserves. And I feel like part of that is because he just gets kind of lost in that Phillies rotation that has been so dominant for so long. I mean, they have Zach Wheeler, Christopher Sanchez is now one of the best pitchers in baseball. Aaron Nola is one of the biggest names, and Ranger Suarez. So he kind of gets lost in the shuffle there, but he's still been excellent for them. He's been very effective, and that Phillies core needs to win a World Series at some point. If they don't win a World Series with Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Christopher Sanchez,
Brandon Marsh.
Brandon Marsh. Yes, these guys are all top of the top level baseball players. But like, it's a shame that they haven't won a World Series. I think they totally could have had the chance to several times. But yeah, I think it would be great for them to re-sign Ranger Suarez. However, if he doesn't re-sign with the Phillies, kind of what I was alluding to earlier with the two signings playing off each other, I think that Houston might try to replace Framber with Ranger Suarez. I think he might sign with the Astros. You said it yourself. Like, they are very similar pitchers. They provide similar stuff in terms of like the way they play. They're more contact ground ball guys, sinker ball or lefties, and I think he could fit in really well with that Astros team. They don't need him to be the ace because Hunter Brown is turning into a top pitcher in the American League, but I think he would fit in really well with that rotation too.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And like, especially if, let's say, like, just talks with Framber don't go well, and Framber did have some controversy in Houston
Yeah,
recently,
yeah,
like on the later end of the 2025 season. So I could see that factoring into them not wanting to bring him back as hard as someone else like Ranger Suarez.
yeah, totally. I wouldn't be surprised if that plays into it.
And also, Ranger Suarez is the best lefty outside of Framber Valdez available on the market.
Yeah, it's really those are the top two options, and I think Houston's probably gonna, if they're not gonna get one, they're probably gonna try to go for the other. And same with the Phillies, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. So our last set of guys here, relief pitchers, we do have some big names here. Edwin Diaz, Robert Suarez, Ryan Helsley, Devin Williams, and Tyler Rogers.
Yeah, it is kind of a stacked reliever class, actually. Yeah. Do you lean a certain way? Do you have a strong feeling about one of these guys? An
San
idea of where they're
Francisco
going to
has to bring back Rogers personally.
Oh,
I think he fits there really well, and he was one of the best relievers for them last year. And I don't see, with the way that he pitches and with how well it works for him, I think he can be a good guy for them for at least another 2 or 3 years. So I think they should get him to at least another 2 or 3 year deal. Edwin Diaz, if let's say the Padres are being a really aggressive team this year, if they do Kyle Tucker, I could see them adding to the bullpen, to combo with Mason Miller, get Edwin Diaz in there too.
wow. That would be scary. Yeah, that would be that would be incredible. The Padres would not give up runs after the 7th inning. Like, if you're not winning the game in the 6th inning against the Padres, you're gonna lose the game.
Yeah.
So that that would be incredible. I feel like Edwin going back to Seattle, I think, could fit too.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could be nice there. I think him and Andres Munoz, neither of them would be the setup guy. They would basically both be the closer. But I think that the pairing of those two, mixed with like the park factor and how difficult it is to see the ball in Seattle compared to other places, like Edwin Diaz would just flourish even more than he did the first time around there.
Yeah, no, totally agree.
I would really like seeing him in San Diego though.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. How about Robbie Suarez?
I think Robert Suarez might stay in the division. I think he might even stay in the state. I think that he could go to San Francisco. I feel like if he was a Giant, that would fit well. They traded away Camilo Doval to the Yankees during the season, and that was a big hit for them. They did get some stuff in return, but he was like their closer. Like, people were comparing him to like Emmanuel Clase at one point. But I mean, they do have like a young guy, Randy Suarez. He's great. He throws really hard. He's got like a 97, 98 mile an hour sinker. I think the two of them fitting together could be great. And Robert Suarez he was the closer for the Padres. He was, I think, like, he might have even had like the most saves in baseball, maybe in the National League, or I'm just making that up. But he was like, he's got experience as a closer and as a setup guy, as a long reliever. So I think that he could fit in well in either spot. You'd probably make him the closer though. You'd probably have Randy Rodriguez be the setup guy and then Robert Suarez be the closer. But I think that San Francisco could fit well for him.
Yeah, no, I see that. So we will make another free agent video in the future covering, more major signings, who's left, where they could go based on what's happened so far. And we'll do the same thing with the trade video. We're going to We're going to go over more trades when they happen, break them down, do all that fun stuff with them. But if you're a Marvel fan, you guys are going to be happy because we're making a Marvel video for our next video. So stay tuned for that. Or it could be DC. Who knows? But it's going to be one of the two. You'll have to watch and find out. But that has been this episode of the Sci-Fly Zone, where the multiverse meets the seventh inning stretch. Hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace.